True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report.
Hey, True Blue Nation. Welcome back to True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report, your channel for the hottest news and deepest analysis on our Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm your host, and as always, I'm here to bring you the inside scoop and the information that truly matters to the Blue Crew. Before we dive into today's bombshell news, which involves a very familiar face and a move that could have major implications for our October run, I need to ask you a favor. If you're a passionate Dodgers fan and want to stay ahead of the news with serious direct analysis, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click that subscription button below and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss a breaking story or an exclusive analysis. Your subscription is what drives us to keep digging deep to bring you the best content. Now, let's get to it. The late season trade market is always a minefield of opportunities, and it seems a golden one, wrapped in nostalgia and massive potential, has just fallen into the lap of Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers front office. We're talking about a name that echoes loudly in Chavez Ravine, a two-time World Series champion in our uniform, an arm that was once one of the most electric in the league, Walker Buehler. The news shaking up the MLB back channels is that Buehler has been designated for assignment by the Boston Red Sox, and I have reason to believe that a reunion in Los Angeles is not just possible, but is being seriously considered. To understand the magnitude of this possibility, we first need to dissect what happened to Walker Buehler in Boston. After the glorious 2024 season, where he was a key piece in the World Series victory against the Yankees, Buehler entered free agency as a coveted name. The Boston Red Sox, seeking a veteran with a champion's pedigree to anchor their rotation, bet big and signed him to a $21 million contract. The expectation at Fenway Park was that Buehler would bring not only his experience, but also that competitive fire that we, the Dodger fans, know so well. Initially, it seemed like a solid bet. He performed decently last season, showing flashes of the dominant pitcher he once was. However, the 2025 season told a completely different story. From spring training onward, reports coming out of Boston indicated a worrisome inconsistency. His fastball velocity, which used to flirt with 97-98 mph in crucial moments, was now sitting more consistently in the 93-94 range, and his command, one of his trademarks, seemed to abandon him in key moments. The result was a series of short, ineffective outings, culminating in an inflated ERA and growing distrust from the Red Sox coaching staff and front office. The situation reached a breaking point when, as reported by Katie Manganelli of Bo Sox Injection, the team began openly considering internal replacements like Richard Fitts and Kyle Harrison, relegating Buehler to a position of uncertainty. The final decision came abruptly. On August 29th, as Dara McDonald reported, the Red Sox officially designated Walker Buehler for assignment. For a pitcher of his caliber, and with such a significant salary, being DFA'd mid-season is a tough blow, and a clear sign that the organization had lost all faith in his ability to turn things around. This is where the story shifts from Boston to Los Angeles. For any other team, signing a pitcher who was just cut for poor performance would be a risky gamble. But for the Dodgers, it's a calculated play, a minimal risk with a potentially astronomical reward. Andrew Friedman's front office has built its reputation on identifying undervalued talent and masterfully executing reclamation projects. Remember names like Tyler Anderson and Andrew Heaney, pitchers who arrived in Los Angeles with question marks and were transformed into valuable assets. With Buehler, the situation is even more intriguing. There's no need for introductions. He knows the system, the culture, the pressure of wearing Dodger blue. He grew up professionally here. What I'm hearing from my sources is that there is no bad blood between Buehler and the Dodgers organization. His departure was business, and his potential return would be as well. The Dodgers' internal analytics, led by their advanced biomechanics and pitcher development staff, are certainly already dissecting every video of Buehler's performances in Boston, looking for correctable mechanical flaws or patterns that suggest a change of scenery and training philosophy could reignite his career. The big question the front office is pondering isn't whether Buehler can return to being the ace of the rotation. That expectation would be unrealistic right now. The question is, can he, in a more limited role, contribute to winning another World Series. And that's where the conversation becomes fascinating. The idea isn't to bring him into the starting rotation. As Matt Snyder of CBS Sports accurately noted, that rotation is stacked with names like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, and potentially Clayton Kershaw and Shohei Ohtani when he returns to pitching. The spot for Buehler wouldn't be as a protagonist, but rather as a strategic weapon in the bullpen, a role where he could focus on 1 or 2 innings, maximizing his intensity and his repertoire without the need to go through a lineup 3 times. This familiarity and the low cost, the Dodgers would only need to pay the league minimum, as the Red Sox are on the hook for the rest of his salary, make this an extremely attractive gamble. Let's deepen the strategic analysis. How exactly would Walker Buehler fit into the Dodgers bullpen in September, and more importantly, in October? Currently, our bullpen has been solid, but like any unit, it has its vulnerabilities. There's a reliance on arms like Evan Phillips at the back end of games, but the bridges from the starters to the closers, the crucial 6th and 7th innings, have at times shown instability. The addition of an arm with Buehler's postseason experience could be a monumental stabilizing factor. Think of him as a multi-inning weapon. In a tight playoff game where your starter exits after 5 innings, having the option to bring in a guy like Buehler, who isn't intimidated by the stage and knows what it takes to win in October, to pitch the 6th and 7th is a luxury very few teams can afford. His competitive mindset, the famous bulldog we know, is perfectly suited for the high leverage moments of the bullpen. Instead of worrying about pacing himself for 6 or 7 innings, he could come in and give it his all for 20 or 30 pitches, using his fastball and his devastating slider-curveball combination to dominate a crucial stretch of the opposing lineup. Furthermore, his presence in the clubhouse would be invaluable. He's a winner, a champion, and his return, even in a reduced role, would send a clear message to the rest of the team. The front office is doing absolutely everything possible to maximize the chances for a title. This isn't about charity or nostalgia. It's a chess move focused on strengthening the roster for the most critical phase of the season. The financial risk is practically zero. The performance risk is manageable. If he doesn't perform well in his first few appearances, the decision to cut him would be simple and without major repercussions. However, the potential reward is what makes this idea so seductive. What if the move back to the familiar environment of Los Angeles, working with the coaches who know him best, unlocks something? What if, in short bursts, he can find 90% of the pitcher he once was? A focused and healthy Walker Buehler coming out of the bullpen is a terrifying sight for any opposing team in the playoffs. He would quietly become one of the most powerful and unexpected weapons in the Dodgers' quest for another crown. Remember, it hasn't even been a year since he was on the mound closing out the World Series for us. That champion DNA doesn't just disappear overnight. The bet is that in the right environment and with a well-defined role, that DNA can surface again when it matters most. At the end of the day, the possibility of bringing Walker Buehler back is a classic low-risk, high-reward play that defines the Andrew Friedman administration. This isn't about trying to recapture the magic of the past, but about utilizing a valuable and familiar asset in a new and strategic way to address a present need. Bullpen depth and experience for the postseason. If he's willing to accept a secondary role and fight for his spot, this reunion could be the missing piece to the 2025 championship puzzle. Now, I want to hear from you, the True Blue Nation. What do you think of this potential move? Is bringing Walker Buehler back for the bullpen the smart play that could push us to a title, or is it an attachment to the past that could become a distraction? Leave your opinions in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know what the Dodger Nation thinks. If you enjoyed this detailed analysis, smash that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report, and turn on notifications. My commitment is to bring you the inside scoop and the deepest analysis fast and reliably. Stay tuned because the final stretch of the season promises to be electric.